Hello, everyone. My name is Pablo Felices Luna. I'm one of the jurors of this year's QWF Literary Awards. I sat on the jury for the Playwriting Award, and it gives me great pleasure to speak with this year's winner of the award, Mishka Lavigne, author of Albumin. Hello, Mishka.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us today. Um, I know I'm supposed to ask you questions, but I have to tell you, I loved reading your play.
Thank you.
Um, and it was inspiring, and I'm delighted that it won. And I'm delighted that people get to find out more about it in this conversation.
Me too.
So, excellent. So, I mean, I like origin stories. I like finding out how things come into being. So I was hoping you could tell us a little bit about how Albumin came into being.
One of the things I wanted to explore with Albumin was the relationship between artist and muse. So throughout history, there have been these relationships that have been fairly strange or fairly complicated between artist and muse, and especially if the muse of the artist is also an artist. I'm going to use herself because they were mostly women, these muses. So if you have this figure of an artist who is high up on a pedestal and who's well known, and this artist has a muse or many muses in some cases, like Picasso, who had dozens of them. And then you have these muses who are artists, and how do they reconcile working with this figurehead of an artist and their own artistic practice? So that was one of the things that was that I was thinking about when I was writing the play. I've always been fascinated with the idea of giving blood. I tried myself a few times. I have low blood sugar, so I tried twice. It never worked. So one day in my life, I'm going to be able to give blood. So this was one of the things that was kind of running as a background obsession when I was writing the play. And this I kind of wanted to create as well a sense of huis clos. So this when Jessa poses for Danielle, there's this sense that it's a very enveloping environment. It's a very dramatic environment where she's posing and posing for hours at a time, and she's kind of stuck in there. It's like a little cage, a little pedestal, all of these lights shining on her. And I have a lot of friends at the time who were posing for live drawing classes for artists. So let's say at like the Ottawa School of Art or all of those places. And there's that idea of being so exposed as well that I found fascinating. So all of this kind of coalesced and made its way into the play.
Okay.
And the first draft or the first few drafts of this play were written at the Banff Playwrights Lab in 2016. So all of these ideas were kind of I played around with them a lot and seeing which ones were more important and which ones were kind of background to all of this. That's the work that happened in Banff mostly.
Great. I just want to circle back to the giving blood piece that you were talking about, because one of the things that I find fascinating, and it's these things in plays, the things that make a character who they are, and this compulsion that Jessa has to give blood, right? And I was curious if there was any story behind it, or is it just something that came about in developing the play, or?
It's something that kind of came about as a way for Jessa to meet someone outside of the art world.
Mm,
So when she meets Lucas, it's because Lucas is a nurse and she's giving blood.
right.
But this idea too that she feels it's the only worthwhile thing that she's doing in her life is giving blood. And you see it a little bit in the the advertisements you get for, let's say, Canadian Blood Services or etc. It's like, save a life, be this hero. So you've got that kind of discourse in the advertisements of blood clinics or blood donations. And Jessa kind of buys into that thing as well. So I kind of wanted to work with that relationship between artist and muse, but also with the nature of to me they're on two separate poles, but they're kind of the same in themselves, as the nature of desire and the nature of obsession. So there's a point where desire basculates into obsession. And it's like this for Jessa with giving blood. It started in that desire to help, and it ended up being that obsession of this is how she defines herself. And it's the same for Danielle and Lucas in their relationship with Jessa, on how this desire slowly transforms into obsessions. Jessa is someone that neither Lucas nor Danielle can kind of grasp fully. So it becomes this weird obsession of trying to control her, of trying to get her down. And Lucas has that possibility when Jessa is giving blood, because she is hooked to the machines. She literally can't move, and he's trying to keep her in that sense. So there's something a little bit vampiric as well about Lucas. And that's what I wanted to explore. So that idea of desire and obsession, and how they're kind of both sides of the same coin.
Right. No, and the reason I wanted to ask about that is because I can just imagine being in rehearsal and unpacking those ideas with the actors, right? Like, that there would be some conversations, okay, can we talk about this, and what it means and how it manifests. So I'm going to sort of connect that to this play did get produced back in March. So what was it like to see it come to life at Arts Court?
So it was produced in March of 2019 as part of Tactics Ottawa. So Arts Court was our venue. So that's just a thing that was a little mistaken, that the announcement for the prize. And I want to make sure that the producing company gets their nod. Right. So Tactics Ottawa was the first production, the creation of the play. But this play had a lot of workshops, and all of the questions from the actors in workshops kind of gave it that momentum to get to the production at Arts Court. And what happened too at Arts Court was it was a mix of actors that I worked with before and actors that I hadn't. So it was a lot of fun to open up this discussion to these actors, and some of them know me well, so they were asking all of these questions, and then the ones that knew me a little less well kind of ended up falling into that rhythm of discussion and falling into these deep questions about their characters in the play, and that was beautiful to see. And the director who directed the production at Arts Court in 2019, we've worked together before, but it was his first time directing in English. And he was very worried about the language barrier, but eventually he just, he fell into it as well, and the images that were present as well. And a thing that was beautiful too about the production in Ottawa is the fact that our team was bilingual. So one of the actresses, well, two of the actors actually, Lucas and Jessa, are both actors in French and in English. And some of our designers, some of the people around the show were working both in French and in English. I write both in French and in English. So it was a great opportunity to put these two communities working together, which is starting to happen a little more in Ottawa, and you might see it too in Winnipeg where you are, especially for designers who are working in both languages. but it was a great opportunity to kind of see these two communities coming together. And to me, that was very important. So we kind of got the best of both communities into that production. So I'm very excited about it. But the workshops with actors kind of helped the play grow and helped the play move a lot. So we had two workshops while the play was being written in Banff. And then another 1 week workshop at Orlando Shakespeare Theater in Orlando, Florida. So that was with the National New Play Network in the US and the Banff Center. And both of these workshops were mostly table work, so that helped the play grow a lot as well. It was very exciting.
Yeah, I love what you said about language. I know that we're working on a project on language for young children, and it's a francophone, anglophone, and deaf artists working together. And there's something we focus on language, but sometimes it's the cultural piece that becomes quite interesting, and it enriches the whole creation process. So that's lovely to hear.
Absolutely.
I do want to give you your time though, Mishka, because we didn't have the gala in person, so you didn't get to get up there and give your acceptance speech. So if I guess what I wanted to ask is if you had had the opportunity to receive this award, you know, in a gathering of friends, what would you have said?
Wow, so many things. There's just so many people to thank in with this award. I kind of wanted to go and I wrote them all to make sure I don't forget anyone. So there was the production at Arts Court Theatre, the Tactics Ottawa production. So Éric Perron was the director. Margot McDonald, André Rainville, and Mitch Rose were the actors. Jess Priest, who was our stage manager, and Nick Leno, who was the assistant director and production manager. Judy DeBoer, Benoit Brunet-Poirier, and Al Connors were our designers for the show. Bronwyn Steinberg, who's the artistic director of Tactics Ottawa. From the Banff Center and the Banff Playwrights Lab, I would love to thank Brian Court and Jenna Rogers, who are dramaturgs extraordinaire. It was such a lovely group of people that year in Banff in 2016. We had so much fun, all of us together. And I kind of feel like this moment, you know, in the mountains is always very special, but this moment with this group of people kind of helped make Albumin better. It was such a dense and kind of strange play that it helped that when I was done with my writing, I could go have a drink with these people because they were the best. And then from Orlando Shakespeare Theatre and the National New Play Network, so Nan Barnett at NNPN, Cynthia White at the New Play Development Program at Orlando Shakespeare Theatre. And the actors we had there were Megan Maroney, Jim Braswell, and Cheryl Carbonell, who is Cheryl, who's actually Canadian, but who's been living in the US for a number of years. And Cody Grassett was the stage manager for that workshop. So all of these people kind of helped with their questions, with their implication in the process, either with the production or with the workshops, kind of helped make this play what it is now. And they were there to ask the right questions at the right time, I feel, and it helped make everything just better and stronger.
It just reminded me in my own work, because I work for young audiences, one of my favorite things that happens is in talkbacks when children ask, like, well, how did you make this play? And we get to unpack, like, we didn't make it, you know, like there's all of these people who were involved in making this happen, and you can just see their minds going, wow, it takes that, you know, and you and I know this, but it's such a beautiful opportunity to celebrate that, right?
Absolutely. And that's the thing when you're writing too, it's such solitary work. but it's not at the same time. You know, I did spend that time in front of my computer writing this play and doing this research and, you know, checking out which blood groups go with which, and all of this research I did for Albumin, then writing the show. But then afterwards, everyone that surrounds the production, or everyone that helps get the play to a place where it's strong and it can confidently go on stage, is just a delight and an important part of the process.
I would say to anybody watching, you should read this play. It's a great script. I think you'll find it inspiring, compelling. It'll make you feel things and think things, which is what we love in theater, right? So it is available for purchase. You can go to Playwrights Guild of Canada. Canadian Play Outlet is the section where they sell scripts. So you can look up Albumin by Mishka Lavigne. So please do so. And if you're interested in finding out more about the QWF Literary Awards, please visit qwf.org. And I want to say thank you for joining us in this conversation. But of course, final word always to the playwright. Mishka, is there anything else you want to say?
A big thank you to QWF and sponsors. It's such a strange year, but the gala was very fun, the live virtual gala. And I just appreciate that QWF took the time this year to kind of give all of the nominees and the winners their place in the sun, even though we couldn't have the party, even though things are so strange and different this year. They did a great job, and everyone who was nominated and every one of the winners, it was a great year, and I'm in very good company.
Thank you, Mishka, and congratulations.
Thank you.